Hi there, this is Lee Einer with Spotlight on New Mexico, coming to you from Las Vegas, New Mexico's beautiful west side. I'm here today to talk to you and show you what's going on with the river park between Bridge Street and Independence. And let me begin by saying I am speaking on behalf of nobody but myself. I do not represent in this video the positions of the Hermit's Peak Watershed Alliance or anybody else, actually, just my own. You probably know that the Hermit's Peak Watershed Alliance and the River Park Collaborative did some really nice work up and down this stretch of the river park. A lot of things, not only some very good and very expensive heavy equipment work restoring meander to the Gallinas, which historically had been dredged and channelized and straightened, but also just an awful lot of volunteer hours with people showing up to plant willows and cottonwoods and pick up garbage and make it a nicer place to be, really to try and restore this riparian area to at least a vestige of what it once was. And I applaud their efforts. Unfortunately, a couple of governmental entities, local, got involved at the 11th hour and did things adjacent to all that work that were not particularly good. And without further ado, I'm going to take you for a little video tour.
I'm standing at Independence and the Gallinas River here in Las Vegas. And if I was filming this a year ago, you'd only be seeing trees, and you'd only be seeing about maybe a dozen feet into them because of all the trees and all the understory. And now let's get a look down here. There used to be a little trail by the big rock there that would take us down to the main trail that would take us about halfway to Bridge Street through a well-forested area that provided plenty of cover. There used to be, 80 species of bird that have been sighted in this place. And, man, look at it now. West Las Vegas Schools acquired the property for another athletic field and just knocked down the trees, compacted the soil, stripped away the organic matter that the trees had been depositing here for longer than I've been alive. And all we got is naked soil. Let's take a look over here. See a little bit of the original path here. That's about it. They did away with the footpath that would take us all the way up to Bridge Street back in the day. And I don't know what they were thinking. It was a beautiful little woodlands here. Yes, homeless people would frequently take cover here and squat, and I'm sure that students from the school would come on their lunch break to smoke a doobie and make out, and getting rid of the trees I don't think was the optimal solution to that. And what we're looking at here, what can I call it? You know, you do away with the trees, that's bad. You do away with the organic matter, that's worse. You scrape off the topsoil, man, that's death. There's nothing that's going to grow here. And in fact, you look at this area, it's all compacted in preparation for the AstroTurf basically to be laid down. And it's all going to be generating a hell of a lot of runoff, and you really can't see from this perspective, but that little green strip there is what remains down here of the Pajarito Arroyo, and that's really kind of been repurposed as the surge basin for all of the runoff that's going to be generated by this monstrosity. And what's going to happen is it's all going to be blasting right into the headwaters of this wetlands with, I would guess, destructive effect. You know, certainly it's going to seriously exacerbate the high and low water levels in this river, and it's going to dump a lot of crap into this river in an environmentally sensitive area. Now, we may have had 80 species of birds here, but at least we still got the pigeons, little air rats. Fuck me. And here we are, another view from across the river. And you wouldn't be able to see this a year ago. You wouldn't, because there would be too many trees in the way on the other side of the bank for you to see. And I don't know if you can catch this, but it looks like they were thoughtful enough to chip the wood and scatter the corpus delicti, as I would call it, across the landscape here to try and provide some patchy cover for the land that's been scraped clean, but too little too late. And here we have the outlet for the runoff to come blasting into the Gallinas from this giant sports field and through the Pajarito Arroyo or its remains. You can see that the Hermit's Peak Watershed Alliance did some earthworks here to try and manage that, but look at the volume that monstrosity is going to accommodate, and look at the area that's going to try and manage it and get it into the river in some sort of a non-destructive form. Again, good luck with that. And again, look at this. A year ago, I could be standing on the other side of the river there on the trail, and I could literally pretend I wasn't in a city. You know, it was wooded on both sides and littered, I'll grant you, sometimes, but it was a thing of beauty, and it is no more, and I feel sadly confident in saying it ain't coming back. So, this shit right here, okay, this stretches north towards the bridge for a good long ways. This is where the DOT on the other side of the river decided to have their way with things, and you can see they scraped the bank clean as far down as they could go towards the river, and then installed these little straw or bark noodles to try and forestall the inevitable erosion that was going to happen. But again, let's talk about what happened here. That, a year ago, that would have been grasses and wildflowers, you know, somewhat in a disturbed state because, frankly, there's been mowing going on, but not so much on these slopes. But now, the organic matter is gone, and the topsoil is gone, and what remains is naked to the New Mexico sun and wind. And there's a whole subsoil community we haven't talked about yet, which is bacteria, fungi, earthworms. Guess what? Just like you and me, the soil needs food, the soil needs water, and the soil needs protection from the elements. And if you let it bake dry like this, you're killing that whole subsoil community. And when we look at many of our native species here, they're what biologists or botanists would call, in fancy terms, obligate symbionts of the bacteria and the fungi, which means they can't live without it, which means that whatever's coming back here, if we think it's just going to magically go back to the way it was, that's not going to happen. Between the two, between the DOT and West Las Vegas schools, I'm saying what we're looking at here is a crime scene. And I'm saying if Mother Nature were a person, then what we'd be talking about here is a homicide.